Well, I have just got back from a rather nice weekend away with my wife. As I mentioned last episode, we went to a place called Chigasaki, which is close to a place we've visited before a few times called Enoshima. But I wanted to try going by a beach, and I think that's probably one of the closest beaches that you can go to, like one of the closest beach type areas from Tokyo, probably. But I wanted to try and see like what happens if you go a bit further to the west. Because the place that I went to last time, Enoshima, is really nice. I really like that. And there's this small island that you can walk around with lots of shops on and restaurants. And then at the back of this island, you've got all of these like rocks that you can walk along. It's a bit weird. But it's very nice scenery and really nice place to be when the weather's warm. Because it's by the ocean, so you normally get like quite a lot of wind, and that helps cool you down. But anyway, like I said, I wanted to go a bit further along the coast, a bit further towards the west, and just to see if it gets any quieter. Because one thing about somewhere like Enoshima is that when it's like a weekend and the weather's good, it's usually very busy. And I tend to prefer places that are more quiet. So I thought, there's quite a lot of beach. I was looking at a map and I thought there's quite a lot of beach all the way along here. So it can't all be busy, can it? I mean, it could be because it's Japan and that many people live here in such a small area. So yeah, I guess it could actually be that busy. But I thought, no, it'll be okay. There'll be some spaces that are quite quiet. So anyway, we found that we can get all the way to this place, this Chigasaki area, just with one train. So we wouldn't have to change the trains at all, which is great. Because we do have to change. Like if we're going down to Enoshima, we do have to change train one or two times depending on which way we go. But this was just a single train, so I thought, oh, that's good, isn't it? It's nice just to get on and then just like do nothing and then just sit down for the whole journey, and then it's like that's it, you've arrived at your destination. So we went down the train. Took about 2 hours, probably less, might be an hour and a half to get there. So not too far. The journey wasn't too long. And when we arrived and got outside of the station, I had a look around and I thought, yeah, looks like a nice place. It looked bigger than I expected it to look. Maybe I was expecting somewhere a bit more like, having like not so many buildings maybe, but there were lots and lots of buildings everywhere and lots of restaurants and shops and so it looked like a good place to live. It looked very handy and stuff like that, but for some reason I was expecting it to be a bit quieter. But anyway, it looked like a nice place, so we decided to walk down to the beach, which was probably about 25 minutes if you're walking from the train station. You can get a bus as well, but we decided to walk. And we went down to the beach and I could just see like a tiny opening like in this like bush. We were walking towards this bush and I could see like the ocean like through this bush, and I thought, wow, that looks really nice. I really like that. I should upload a picture of that for you actually. It was a really nice photo. But anyway, carried on making our way towards the beach, and then we finally got there and I looked to my left. Not very many people here. I looked to my right. Not very many people here either. So yes, I'd actually found like a quiet part, like surprisingly quiet actually, part of the beach. So we walked along a bit further to find, I don't know, a spot that looked good to put a tent. I forgot to say I'd taken a tent with me. And the reason I'd taken a tent, I mean, sometimes I take a tent in England as well, but for a different reason. So in England, I take a tent to the beach because it might rain. And if it rains, you've got to go home. Unless you have a tent, you can get in the tent, hopefully the rain stops, come back out of the tent and carry on with your beach activities. In Japan, I take a tent to the beach for a very, very different reason, because it's too hot. So and the sun is too strong. If it's a cloudy day, fine. But it was not a cloudy day at all. The sun was out all the time, and we'd had the sun on us, beating down on us for this like half an hour walk to get to the beach, and it was really hot. So I put the tent up, and this tent that I've got, like all four sides of it, can be like doors or windows, whatever you want to call them. So that it all opens up, and you can, like, if it's a windy day, like all of the wind flows through the tent, which is really nice. And it's got like some kind of UV protection cover from the sun as well. So I'm not going to say it was cool sitting in the tent. It wasn't cool. It was still very, very hot. But at least we were sitting in some shade, and the wind was blowing on us, and it was really nice. And yeah. Well, like I said, it was just nice, just sitting down, looking out over the ocean, listening to the sound of the waves. And it was also a bit weird as well, like just thinking, like last week, only a week ago or so, I was walking around an English beach, and now I'm walking along a Japanese beach. It's always weird. I always think it's a bit weird to think how far you can travel in such a short amount of time. But anyway, the differences, the main differences, I would say, between like the beaches in Japan and in England are the temperature. I mean, when I was on the beach in Japan, I probably still had. Did I have a coat? I might have taken it off. I think I was walking around a lot, so I probably took my coat off that day. So I had a t-shirt on and a jumper on. I didn't have any sun cream on because there wasn't enough sun to get sunburn. I think like the UV index was like 3, and that's like just at the level where you might need to, you should probably put sun cream on at that level, but it was like right at the lower end. I checked the UV index in Japan on this beach in Japan, and it was 7, which I don't know if I've ever seen 7 in the UK. 7 is just like you'll just start to fry. It's crazy. It's just like really strong sun. So obviously I had all this sun cream on. The sand is not as nice as the beaches in England, I'm going to have to say. I don't know about all of Japan. I've never been to all of Japan. This is just like I've only seen beaches in sort of like this area and some areas close by to where we live. But the sand is always grey, and I think it's probably to do with the amount of like volcanoes that are over here. There must be lots of like ash mixed in with it or something like that. I don't know. Someone knows. I don't know what the reason is. Maybe a geologist can tell you why that is exactly. I should probably look it up because it is quite interesting. I do want to know. But most of the beaches I go to in England, they have nice yellow sand, which I like. I also like white sand. I remember going to this beach in Australia, and it had this really white sand, and it was squeaky, which is weird. You'd walk on it, and it would make this almost like a squeaking sound underfoot, which was strange, but fun. Anyway, so the sand, I would say, doesn't look as nice, but apart from that, it's sand, it's fine. And then the sea, I would say, is better than most of the seas. I mean, like most of the like water around England. It seemed really clear, although you can get very clear like oceans in England as well. But sometimes you can see this very like muddy ocean, and like you can't like see through the water and see like the sand below or anything like that. Or if you're walking in it, you can't see your feet through the water. So the water was nice and clear, and it was warm. That's a big difference. Like if you go, I mean, even on a really hot day, even if it gets up to like 30 degrees in England or over 30 degrees, and you go into the ocean and you just put your feet in, like the first time you put your foot in, it's like, you just sort of like jump back because it's like so cold. I don't know, maybe if it gets over 30, it's not that bad. But normally, like my memory of, like putting my feet in the water on a beach in England is just always like, yeah, it's colder than I thought it was going to be. And I've always hoped that it was a bit warmer. So I almost never swim in the ocean in England because it's just so cold. But this time it was warm, and I'd brought my swimming trunks with me, and I was wearing them, which is, helps. And I decided to go for a swim in the ocean. And it was a lot of fun, actually. It was more fun than I remember it being. It's been so long since I've swam in the ocean. Probably the last time. When was the last time? It might have been, I don't know, it's probably going back over 10 years or something. Maybe when I went to Portugal. Because the ocean there was nice as well, nice and warm. It might have been, yeah. Last time I swam in England, I was a kid. I think I was maybe a teenager or something like that. And I just remember coming out of the water, and it was a sunny day. It was a hot day, hot like for English weather, and I was just freezing, absolutely freezing. Like the wind was blowing, and I was just shivering. And I just thought, I'm never going to go swimming in an English ocean ever again. Although, I think if I bought a wetsuit, I'd probably do it. But yeah, it is cold. It's always cold. Anyway, I am going to leave it there for now. I thought I'd be able to cover this whole, short trip in just one episode. But actually, I'm only about halfway through telling you about it and telling you what we got up to. So I will resume. I'll pick it up from where I left it next episode. And until then, bye-bye.